Well, good evening and welcome to the Arbor Hills Nature Preserve in Plano, Texas. Tonight's exercise is a field test of the Ledlenser P7R Core flashlight that I have right here. I want to thank Ledlenser for sending me the light and making the review possible, and also point out that you get exactly the same review. It does not make any difference if a vendor sends me a light or if I buy it out of my own pocket. Now, when they do send me a light, I like to understand where it fits kind of in the universe of lighting systems. And a lot of people might call this an all-arounder. I tend to think of it as more of a general purpose utility light. This should be a light that is just good for a lot of things as opposed to being optimized for any one thing in particular. So I would expect this light to be good around the house, around the yard, around the garage, around the workplace, out walking the dog, night hiking. That's the scenario that we're going to spend the most time on tonight. But before that, since Ledlenser is probably a brand that is less familiar to people who frequent the channel, I'd like to spend a couple quick chapters just going over some of the features. I'll talk a little bit about the UI, and then we'll get out there and see what this light can do. Well, it's 6 inches in length. This is not an EDC form factor. I'm showing it next to the Phoenix TK20R V2, a typical tack light. One of the first things I like to do with the light is I just like to see how it feels. This just has a really good fit in my hand. Balance is great. It's just back of center, so it lays nicely in my hand. It's very easy to feel this mode switch. Has an IP68 rating. In fact, Ledlenser says it will survive permanent submersion. I think we may have a torture test in the future. Well, that's another video for another time. Mag charging, as you can see right here, this is where the mag charger fits in. So easy, even I can handle it. There's also something called a smart light feature. If you don't like the modes as they come from the factory, although that's all we're going to be looking at tonight, you can program the light. Now, on a little bit more technical note, it is a 21700 based light. Ledlenser provides you with a 4800 milliamp hour 3.7 volt battery, and for the techies in the audience, CRI is at 70, so it's not a high CRI light, and you'll find the color temperature is on the cool side. We'll see how that works out tonight. I'm going to go very quickly through the UI in the next chapter. If you've already been online and checked all this stuff out, you can just go right to the output mode tests. Well, there it was, just quick press and release of the mode button for power, mid, low, or I might call it high, medium, low. Then if you quick press on, you're always going to go high, medium, low. If you press and hold, that'll take you off. Double click takes us to boost. Now remember, that lasts about 10 seconds, so wait for it, and there it is, off. Okay, pretty simple UI. Those are the only modes we're going to look at tonight. Now, the one thing I've been holding back on you is that this light has an adjustable focus, and that's a great segue into the next segment. Let's get out in the field and see what it can actually do. All right, we are here at the bridge, which is where I normally do output mode test. Now, I teased something at the end of the last clip, and that was the ability to adjust the light beam from wide to narrow. That's real simple. Just twist and pull out, push in. So what I want to do is come out here. My headlamp is now in 1000 lumen flood. What I'm going to do is go through each of the modes and show you the transition from wide to most narrow. Okay, maximum line of sight back there is just over 35 yards. This is power or high. Looks pretty similar to the headlamp, doesn't it? Now let's do the adjustment. Exact same lumen output. Adjust back. Now let's look at medium or mid. Okay, here's the mid, or I would call it medium mode. Then we adjust the beam. Back out. Now I'm in low. You can really only see barely out on the periphery. Let me make the adjustment. And then back out. Really only for very, very close proximity viewing. All right, this is the tough one. Let's see if I can get the good double click going. All right, that is boost, then focus, and of course we lose it after 10 seconds. Now you can get to boost from any of the other lighting modes. I'm in medium right now. We're looking at the entrance over here to the outer loop trail, and then there is a creek in front of me. So if I just do the quick double click, okay, there we've gone up into boost. Then I can focus it a bit more. Then of course we lose the boost after 10 seconds. So that's kind of the best way to go, is to get a lighting mode that is good for you for a sustained period of time. And if you need the quick boost, you've got 10 seconds there. If you need it again, you'd have to double click again. All right, well, let's go see some more about what we can do with these medium and power modes. This is an entrance to one of the many hiking trails out here at the preserve. I have my headlamp in 400 lumen flood right now, and this headlamp is a bit on the neutral to warm side. So what I want to do is switch this out with the Ledlenser in mid or medium mode. All right, so those are comparable lumens, and this is the widest output. So I just wanted to show you what that would look like. You know, if you were trying to follow this trail, this particular mode would be ideal. And if you want a little bit more downrange, you can go to max focus or most narrow beam to get a idea of what's much further down the trail. This is an interesting test. I have my headlamp off. We have the lit observation tower to the left and a very dark area and a clump of trees behind it to the right. So there we are in high or power, and this is max focus. Let me bring that back. That's the widest view we get from the light. Oh yeah, there goes a rabbit. Everybody wants to be a star in the video. And then focus. Again, I actually have very good visibility inside that tree line. Honestly, I think this focus capability in my mind is what really sells the light. It's almost like having two different lights in one. If I wanted to kind of split the difference there, I could do that as well. And notice that the light output is remaining very consistent. It's very even. And even though I've been in this high mode here for a little bit, I'm feeling absolutely no warmth at all from the light. All right, let's move on. Okay, this is another area that I generally do wrap-ups or summaries. Now we've moved to a maximum line of sight of approximately 60 yards at the other end of this small creek. I'm in high or power mode right now. Let's get some more focus on that. Okay, there we go. That's not all the way. A little boost, a little bit more focus. All right, there's the end of boost, kind of hard to see. Then I'm going to move it about halfway in between, and then let's see if I can do this. I've been hauling around a field tripod and a camera rig, so I'm going to pick this up and try to do a quick 360 without tripping myself. This will be fun. All right, we're just about back to where we started. Amazingly, I didn't trip all over myself. There we go. I'm going to head on back to the parking lot and we will wrap up there. All right, I'm back at the parking lot. I'm just showing you low mode right now. Looking around the truck. This might be for something like, I dropped something around the campground, around my vehicle. I just want to do a quick search for it. And, low is definitely solid mode. For that, I'm going to post up and do one more shot in medium and then give you my final thoughts. All right, here we are. I'm looking out back into the field right by where I'm parked in mid or medium mode. To me, this is kind of the money mode for the light. ANSI FL1 runtime is listed as 4 hours, and every Ledlenser light I've ever tested, they all have exceptional run times. You could easily follow a path if you're out stuck at night with the ability to use the focus to get quick information downrange without going up in light mode. And in that regard, I'll say I think this actually makes a good search and rescue light. Now, what do I mean by that? I do wilderness search and rescue as a private contractor, and I specialize in night operations. Now, almost everyone I've come in contact with was someone who was out during the day and they had no intent to be out at night. They got lost, they got injured, they found themselves in a really bad situation, and yeah, bad things happen to good people. It really doesn't take much to get yourself prepared to be out at night. And no pun intended, this light might actually be at the core of a very small night kit. Put this in your pack along with just a simple way to make fire. You could put this in high mode, max focus, periodically shine it up in the air as a beacon. Let's say you hear somebody like me who's searching, who's yelling and blowing a whistle. Also, have a whistle in your night kit. That just those 3 or 4 small items could really make the difference. And in that regard, I hope you and I never meet in a professional capacity. Now, if you'd like to see more about maybe programming this light, if you'd like to see comparisons to other lights, leave a comment. I'll see if I can make that happen. And until the next review, as always, Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching the video.